One of my favorite anecdotes about self-sabotage is by Vincent van Gogh. So before he became a famous painter, he was a big fan of this other artist that was already very successful. And one day he decided that he would show his paintings to that artist. And he walked 80 kilometers to get there. And as soon as he got there, he saw the house. He freaked out and just turned around and walked back. And I think this is such a great antidote because this is exactly what happens when we self-sabotage. I think we have this dream or something we want to achieve, and we're really committed to it, and we go on this big journey, and kind of just as about as something is going to happen and we're actually about to get there, we tend to freak out and just call the whole thing off. This is a pretty extreme example, but I think a lot of us do that. I see it a lot in clients who are like, hey, I have this great business opportunity I want to achieve, and then they're about to get there and they're like, actually, I don't want it. Or with a relationship where you've just been trying to date for a while and suddenly you meet somebody really great and you just start panicking. I think this is a really natural feeling because we usually fear the things that we really want just as much as we want them. And so as we get closer to them, we usually start freaking out and our self-protection starts kicking in. And it basically tells us like, perhaps it's better if we just call the whole thing off and we just don't do it. We're not quite ready. We're not quite there yet. We haven't worked hard enough to achieve this. We need to work on ourselves first. We need to make more money, be better at this, etc. Like there's so many reasons the mind makes up when it comes to self-sabotage, and they all sound pretty believable. So it's pretty hard to ignore them and to be like, no, actually, this is just my fear kicking in. And I should just give myself a moment to calm my nerves and then pursue regardless. But that is, of course, what we should do in that scenario. It's totally normal that the fear kicks in. It's totally normal that we start questioning things, start having self-doubt, and to have a moment where basically we feel kind of like we need that safety. But we can give ourselves that safety in other ways than just calling the whole thing off. I think what we can do is sort of implement some calming practices, acknowledging that we feel afraid, which is obviously like an important first step usually, and just sort of seeing what you need to calm your nervous system. Now, for one person, that could be just like going on a walk, doing some breathing exercises, perhaps even talking to a friend and just sharing like, hey, this is what's going on, I'm freaking out. So the friend can tell you like, yeah, you're definitely self-sabotaging. And sort of just give yourself a moment to calm down and sort of get to a level of a sort of calmer nervous system. Because when you're really in that fear, it's really hard to know how you truly feel about that life change. Because fear can't let us think rationally. We're almost in like this state where we just want to self-protect. So when you get yourself down to like a calmer nervous system, you can really see like, how do you truly feel about this? Like, what are you afraid of? And also, what could you get from this? Like, why did you want this in the first place? And our fears are often around failing, around not being good enough or not being worthy of what we really want. And just sort of this deep-rooted fear that we all kind of have. And it's totally fair that that comes up and to make space for it. And it's totally natural that we want to run in that scenario. But we also wanted this for a reason. So we work towards that. And it would be really a shame to call it off. So as you calm yourself and connect back to how you really want this, how can you move forward? Even if it's in a tiny, tiny way, like how can you slowly build towards having the confidence to move forward with this? And just take a tiny step and then give yourself some moment to, calm yourself again. And then take another tiny step. And then as you keep doing that, you sort of build the resilience because you kind of teach yourself, your body, that you can do this and that you're allowed to do this and you can handle the discomfort that comes with it, because usually with big life decisions, there is some discomfort. And the more we give ourselves time to process that and just take little steps as we go along, the more we learn that we can handle it, that we're resilient enough to move forward, even when it feels slightly scary, and that we can give ourselves the tools to make it so that it's not overwhelming. Now, if you would need some help with that, or if you would like to learn how to calm your nervous system or implement those steps, or you'd like some guidance in this process, feel free to reach out to me.